Matnum for January 2025. Like every month, let's go through it. We'll start with the word hunt first. The 3 words you can use as hashtags and inspiration to go hunt words in the world and take pictures of them. So this month, the words that were randomly picked by the Photocollective.net website are send, investment, and majority. So don't hesitate to post them on the usual social networks with the hashtags, with the hashtag PCLTV or Photocollective.net if you want. And that's for February. So let's dive into the pictures. First contact sheet. So that's with the Vika app, but the QR codes are valid for all the applications that work with my image engine. So that's Kamar, Vika, DarkCam, and Digital Paula. But as we can see here on this first contact sheet, the 2 first picture you'll see later, there's a bug. There's a bug in development while I was testing. It shouldn't happen on your devices with the version of the app that's available with the updates. But the pictures, basically in black and white, are all from this mix between B and KDC 100N. I kind of liked that was the very long, elongated expand camera program in Vika using that QR code. And because the contrast was very strong, very dark photos, I put a white background here. But here you see the first picture. It was during a concert for one of the schools, the music schools in Reykjavík. So it was interesting. The ratio is interesting, and I think with more than 12 megapixels, you can go, and even 12, you can just go and crop into it. When you do that kind of treatment on the pictures, it's not really the megapixel count that counts beyond a certain point, but more the feeling and the rendering. Again here, some kind of performance. That's actually Burk. We can't see it. It's so contrasty. This program, this virtual emulsion is so contrasty. It's hard to see, but it's Burk doing a DJ set at MCLA. Maybe you've seen the documentary on Apple TV Plus. She talks about those. That was before the documentary, obviously, but really great place. I kind of like the photo. Or here, simply works in the streets in the north. Really strong cold, very cold weather, dark. And I kind of liked this big machine. Its headlights were towards me, and yeah, I kind of liked the ambiance. So yeah, nice. I like that virtual emulsion. Here again, the barcode. And same aspect ratio, but vertical. 2 details. One of that same scene was this big machine digging in the frozen ground with all that snow. And on the right, simply a bus stop in Reykjavík. Let's move to some color and some random captures with different QR codes, but this time with Kamar. Kamar has the experimental editor, so I can actually reprocess the picture I took into it and go back for some other random expressions. Let's say it like this. And that was, if you've seen the serial episodes, you've seen some real camera photos of that scene. That's the DJ Evaluna at Kaffibarinn. And here's this picture I think is interesting. Those 3 processes give very different looks to the same scene, and you might like using them. So here are the QR codes and all the details. Also here, you won't have the QR codes because it's a really simple program. If you use Nerve as an insaturator with no filmulator, it was a program I developed for another app, which was Dual Photo. So it's a really older app. And I basically did it to capture photos of food. Not because I like taking photos of food per se, but I quickly found, like many of you probably, that when you take a picture of food in a restaurant, it saves the GPS position. And then when you travel back again in the same region and are wondering where you could go eat something, you can just check your pictures, check the pictures taken in the same area, and look at what you liked. And if they have a very specific aspect ratio like this one, where I just added the border, the framing, I kind of can find the places I really liked. But yeah, by extension, I take some pictures sometimes of things I find interesting, photographically speaking. But yeah, you can take it with flash like on the left or without like on the right. Really depends. That's again with Kamar. And as I said before, just nerve the variegator to 1.0 to maximum. And here you go. You can do it with all the apps that are compatible. Let's go back to random mode with Kamar and my favorite aspect ratio, 1:2. This is from the the Keflavík Airport, leaving Iceland. And yeah, from the use of insaturator square on the first picture on the left, which is kind of subtly visible with the Polaroid filmulator last treatment above. I thought that was interesting, or simply this volcano, seeing that's Dolce and KDV3X, or on the right, really during the takeoff with Rondi, which tends to distort geometry, and QQ Blue 140 on top of it. Here, this picture I thought was interesting because you actually have a view of part of the center of the city of Reykjavík. That's what it looks like viewed from above. And that's with I changed my phone, and I will say sadly the tele lens is not 85mm anymore, but something like 120 or what, I don't know what. It's an iPhone 15 Pro. I'm actually not a big fan of the tele lens because if you go between the tele and the wide angle, or between the wide angle and super wide angle, you will lose resolution, the quality of your optical image. But here, anyways, this is Reykjavík viewed from the plane under the snow with the Esja mountain on the other side of the bay. I thought it was an interesting image. Anyhow, gives you an idea of where Reykjavík is. It's really a peninsula where Reykjavík is and how it looks like from above. Here on the left, still black and white. That's landing in Manchester in the UK. And on the middle and the right, that's photos from above a street in Manchester, center of Manchester. I thought those two treatments were kind of interesting, very analog in the way they render, and thought you might like using them. So here are the QR codes. Let's continue with some random pictures. 3 pictures in color. On the left, that's still Manchester. That's a treatment using Morkmal as an insaturator and QQC 1600 as a filmulator. Or middle, that's in Geneva, in the industrial part, on the, let's say, south side of the Arve River. You have those huge buildings. There's a sports center, I believe, on the right, and it's a factory on the left. But there's lots of graphs, and I thought the ambiance was nice. Or on the right, that's the organ in the Saint-Pierre Cathedral of Geneva. Nice treatment also, I think, with crunchy, which tends to make some weird stuff, and KD might CCD to soften it. Or here, the picture on the left, that's the same organ, but not with the tele lens, but with a wide angle. Another view from inside the Geneva Cathedral. A day where no one was there, and so it was a nice graphical view. Or in the middle, that's a bar which is named Yvette de Marseille in one of the neighborhoods of Geneva. I would recommend the place. Very traditional factory wooden floor in that bar. It's kind of industrial looking still. Really cool place in the Eau-Vive neighborhood, and I kind of liked the virtual film using Arguable and RD Papier above to finish the treatment. And finally on the right, that's the Mont Blanc mountain, and here it's DNAZ as an insaturator, but the black and white monochromatic look is given by the filmulator, the KDT32. And I really like the way the clouds are basically framing this mountain, which is supposed to be the highest in Europe. So the QR codes if you want to use it. And maybe let's finish this first part for Matnum January with a new contact sheet. Again, those 2 first pictures, you've seen it now. That was a bug when I was developing. The film is really at the end. There were 2 remnants from whatever cache I had in the app. And I really liked it. Most of those pictures I took the same day in a bus, but I thought it was interesting because I like the softness of the contrast. The blacks are not black. It's kind of yellowish, magenta-ish, and that's taken during a really cold night in one of those public buses in Reykjavík. I like the ambiance inside the bus too. I think with this aspect ratio also, it's pretty cool. That's one of the cameras from Vika. Or here again, trying to time the right moment to take a picture when passing by in front of a street, or simply when the focus is not right. Believe me, that's the sea at the horizon and some lights on the boardwalk, but it's really blurry and everything. But I think the treatment really makes the photo interesting per se. So you had the QR code. If you want to use it, I hope that will be with pleasure. And again, finished for this first part. If you have questions, comments, suggestions, don't hesitate. And catch you next time.